What's going on, folks? Painless Risen. Um, as you can see, I got little grays here. Hey, there's some women out here that are like, ooh, I like that. And then my little grays. And some of y'all have seen me evolve, and now I'm getting grays. More so in my beard and stuff, and I'm starting to grow out, but not so much in my head. I have a head full of hair. I keep my hair pretty nice and trimmed and groomed. But it's you run into women and especially younger women in their maybe late 20s, early 30s, and I tell them how old I am. I say I'm 42. They're like, oh wow, okay. I figured you for mid 30s. It's I just kind of you know just wave it off and keep it moving. But I'm going to get into this. And speaking of bodies and imagery, we saw the thing with Lizzo. And I've spoken about Lizzo in passing. I don't think I've done a video dedicated to Lizzo. I don't see myself doing that. But it is what it is, folks. I've said this, and I've said this, and I've said this about this whole thing. Kevin Samuels, and I'm not on Kevin Samuels' tip, nothing like that. But what he has done, he's exposed me to this thing called the manosphere. I didn't know who these guys were. I found out about certain other content creators that are that really delve and give content and put up content concerning and dealing with this thing called the manosphere. And what it has done to me is it's just confirmed. And I'm going to just say this. I do not have any plans or future outlooks in dealing with the manosphere. These are things that were told to me in hindsight of listening to certain individuals. These are things that I've heard before. I've heard these things before. All this stuff that they're talking, I've heard them before. And so it was refreshing to get like an up-to-date, kind of like a summarization of what's going on, in terms of dating and things of that and the third. So, but yeah, interesting. But that's just not my cup of tea. I don't like to get on. I don't want to create a channel or a content platform talking about women and how to get women and why women are. And no, these are things that I've known. Things that it just like I said, it was just a form of confirmation to me. And why Painless thinks the way he does. Now, one of the aspects of the manosphere I do like and that I have talked about are men. I've talked about how masculinity and manhood is shunned. And many of you all know I've talked about this to ad nauseum. I've talked about how being a straight, normal, masculine male, I'm not talking about somebody who can bench 525 pounds, squat 700 pounds. This is a guy that is just handling business, likes women, don't pillow talk, man of his word, not with the bull jive. Those men are becoming, especially dealing with black men, those men are becoming a dinosaur. And I've also said that concerning black men, If you're a normal black male, for instance, let me paint this scenario to you. You're in Hollywood. You're trying to make it. You're trying to find your niche. You're trying to get in on the scene. And a producer comes up to you and says, you know what, Painless, we'll pay you $75,000 for you to put on a dress. Or we'll pay you $75,000 for you to get in a scene. Low budget, B movie, no Hollywood, no Grammy nigga. Where we'll give you $75,000, and that may be high end, if you kiss this other man on the lips in a somewhat short love scene. And nowadays, and I want you to hear this, and this is so important, to say no is revolutionary. To say no, that I will not do that, is revolutionary. Whereas before, when I came up, you would have got knocked across your mouth. You would have got stole on for even coming at somebody like that. But there are so many men nowadays, in particular black men, that will, I'll do it for 12 grand. Or I'll do it for a rack. So that's what we're dealing with, folks. And I've also talked about the feels before reels. We're in a society where to think is revolutionary. To be self-accountable and to be responsible is revolutionary. Because the thought process amongst the masses is to always put blame on someone else. Never look in the mirror and saying, you know what, Painless, your punk ass need to do this and that. Oh no, it's somebody down the street that's to blame. Or it's somebody at the job. That's what we're living in, folks. We're living, and I've said this again, I've said this before, we're living in a bizarro land. And I've used that analogy in other videos, in which left is right, happy is sad, up is down. That's where we at, folks. A worldwide mass of confusion. Now, jumping back on Lizzo, I knew Lizzo wasn't happy with her body. And see, when you're able to look at women, and me and my daddy, we had a good conversation. Me and my daddy, we talk and I've been home so much now that I don't live in Hawaii anymore. I've been home so much. Me and my daddy, we talk a lot. And, he can take the place of me. And, a lot, some things are just what they are. And I'm going to just tell you this. And I've said this before in other videos. Look, real G's, real gangsters don't like heat. They don't like media. They don't like attention. The things that we've seen black folks do to get all up in arms. If you look at the black men that have caused that, your George Floyds, your Michael Browns, your Freddie Grays, y'all probably don't even remember these fools, your Eric Gardners. That's not gangster. Real gangsters say, you know what, and I've said this in other videos, real gangsters, in which a lot of you all Negroes portray yourselves to be, real Negroes, real gangsters will take the pinch, go down to the precinct, we'll fight it out in court. And that's one of the discussions my daddy and I had. He said, you know what? My daddy said, I'm in my age, I ain't got time to be. He's like, my dad was like, because we fix on cars. We like to fix on cars. And my dad was saying, yeah, it was times I would go down to Pep Boys, O'Reilly's, and I done been down there 3 or 4 times, and I done got this control arm, and they say it's the right, fit, the right diameter or whatever. And damn it, he said, I used to go down there, and I'd be ready to jump across the damn counter, because I done been up here 3 or 4 times. The shit's supposed to work. And he said, son, I don't do that no more. I say, the best thing that you can do now in this system, and it was low-key surprising to hear this from my daddy. He said, the best thing you can do in this system is to hit them legally. And it was surprising to hear that from him. But in hindsight, he had always, you see, we evolve. And he always told me those things. When I was doing things, he's like, that's why I ran up to a guy's house, me and a couple homeboys, and I was trying to get at this dude. And my daddy said, you know what, son, don't you ever do no mess like that, because what can happen is that guy or somebody in that house, somebody stronger and older than you, this was like 13, 14 when I did this, they could have drugged you in that house and blew your brains out. And they would have been justified. Why, Daddy? Because you on their damn property. See, it's the little nuggets, the little lessons like that resonate with me now, that make sense to me now. You never go to nobody's house looking for smoke, because that's what you gonna get. But yeah, Lizzo, this whole body shaming thing, look, let me just tell you this. It's not cool to be 5'8" and 245 pounds as a woman. It's not cool. Somebody will knock you down in terms of they'll have sex with you, but they won't marry you. Secondly, it's not healthy. But we're living in an age to where to mention that is, again, revolutionary. So I knew Lizzo. It's just like what Monique did. Monique had all you women. Monique had all you women talking about, ooh, I'm fat and I'm fine, I'm big, I'm BBW, voluptuous. But you know what Monique did? While y'all was out there waiting in Chick-fil-A lines for 45 minutes on y'all lunch break, knowing damn well you just got a 30-minute lunch break, y'all down there in Chick-fil-A, Checkers. You know what she was doing? She down there losing that weight. Had all you women gassed up. And she went and lost that weight. So I knew Lizzo wasn't happy. When she did that mess over in the state on that Lakers game, she was stunting. And you got a lot of capping out here. You got a lot of fools capping. There's a lot of people capping, man. Capping for death. This bomber in Nashville, 63-year-old white guy, talking about him, they ain't never going to forget me. And we can go into the tinfoil hat about was that really his body. But you know what? He was capping. People are so lonely. People feel so insignificant nowadays. And this is pre-corona. This is pre-19. See, social media has, I'm not even going to go into social media, but this Nashville bomber, he was an old-ass capping dude. And what the irony is, okay, you're going to go blow up the AT&T building, but 3 days later, everybody's services is back up. Now you dead, Now everybody talking shit about you, saying good riddance, as I have done, and what? That's all. That's it. You got guys on here on Instagram, rappers, little punk ass, effeminate rappers and clout chasing, capping ass motherfuckers. They're willing to go into ops neighborhood, and ops are opposition, your enemy's neighborhood. And then when you get your brains blew out, they're so capping is contagious for a lot of people now. And it transcends across all cultures, there's two genders. Even to say that is revolutionary. But anyway, I digress. People are willing to get themselves killed for capping. But see, the reality is, nobody gives a shit in a couple days. Like, nobody give a shit about FBG Duck. I mean, you got his homeboys, but the media then moved on. Nobody care about King Von now. Maybe his homeboys, and I doubt that. Nobody give a damn about Pop Smoke. Maybe his homeboys, but they probably didn't moved on. So that capping, we call it high side. Capping ain't a new word. We was calling it capping back in the day. Like a fool that be high side, stunting, doing the most for attention. And that's what Lizzo did. And she had a breakdown. And see, always bet on that, folks. When you see people flogging, that's another word. When you see people flogging and stunting, like everything is all good, I ain't got no feelings, F your feelings, these people are really hurt. These people are really hurting inside. These are the same people that be like, I'm leaving Facebook. Well, why the fuck you gotta announce it? This vamp, this ghost, this bye. But see, that's a childlike mentality. And you see it a lot amongst men. It's like, well, I'm leaving, I'm taking my ball. Since y'all didn't pick me, I'm leaving. Nigga still shooting. All right, I'm about to leave. Fool's still out there balling. Did y'all hear me? I'm about to leave. Then somebody say, nigga, go on then. Shit. That's what we living in now, where people want to announce their fake ass emotional sense of, I have no feelings, but these are the biggest people with feelings, man. The biggest people that be hurting. These are the people that are crying in the dark. The people that post the most and cap the most. These people are the ones that is really going to sleep thinking about suicide. Especially now with this COVID. And I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at people that think that you think you can do all this and say all these things and nobody be able to draw or connect the dots. But these people are really hurting inside. Capping, stunting, clout chasing is an epidemic now. And people are going so far as to lose their life. But in reality, nobody's going to give a shit about you. Nobody, in about a week, people are going to move on. And you're going to have people like me be like, you a stupid ass motherfucker for doing that, for going into an opposition's neighborhood, talking crazy about they dead homies, and think nobody's going to touch you. And then when you get scorched, you get smoked. I'll be like, you know what? Good for his ass. Stay from over there. You should have stayed from over there. But your urge, your itch to clout and to stunt and to flodge was just too overwhelming. And now you pushing up daisies. And in a month or so, nobody's going to give a shit about you. That's the realities, folks. That's the reality for all you clout chasers, stunting fools out here. But yeah, with Lizzo, she's one of those women she portrays to be, and then you even have some people that were turning on her because they live vicariously through her life. But Lizzo, I bet she does cry in the dark. I know she cries in the dark. I know she cries, and I know her pillow is sopping wet with tears. So I look at all this stuff, these female content creators. This is a new era of gender war in the so-called black community. It's the same, but it's different. And I'm going to dissect that, and I'm going to really go in on that. I'm still catching up because I have a life, and I'm catching up. But all this, you got people pumping out information now because they don't have no money coming in. It's synthetic G. You can just tell that this is their livelihood. You can look and see they got to pay their rent because they pumping out, and there's other individuals, males too, Jackson. They need to pump this information out, or they're going to be OCS on city streets. That's what's going on, folks. I listen to this content, and it sounds so thrown together. There's no substance. There's nothing. I'm going to give you substance. I can give about subscribers. But everyone knows when you come to Painless Risen or Painless Dew, you're going to get the real. You're going to get that sizzle and pop. But when you out here just doing it for money because you need some place to stay, that's what's up. But I'm going to watch this Oklahoma versus Florida game and chill out. Got a little young honey coming over, and Painless about to chill. All right. Talk to y'all people later. Peace.